Hezekiah's tunnel and Sennacherib's siege, is there proof of God's miraculous intervention? In 701 BC, the mighty Assyrian army, led by the brutal King Sennacherib, swept across the Levant, crushing 46 fortified cities, including every major city in Judah. Only one city stood defiant: Jerusalem. Sennacherib's goal was total annihilation. The Bible records a desperate defense, a prayer from King Hezekiah, and a stunning, miraculous deliverance where 185,000 Assyrian soldiers died in a single night. Is this massive death toll a mere exaggeration, or did God truly intervene? Today, we descend into the physical proof of Hezekiah's preparations and compare the Bible's account directly with the proud, yet strangely truncated, boasts of Sennacherib himself. To ensure full transparency, please note that this video uses AI-generated visuals to bring history to life, faith, and facts. Where ancient mysteries meet modern exploration. Thesis and introduction. The skeptical challenge to the Siege of Jerusalem 2 Kings 18-19 is focused on the claim of miraculous intervention, the sudden, impossible destruction of 185,000 soldiers. Critics argue this is a literary flourish to mask a political treaty or surrender. Our thesis is this: the physical evidence of Hezekiah's engineering feat, the Siloam Tunnel, and the parallel, yet contradictory, record of the siege preserved in Sennacherib's own royal annals, converge to prove the historical reality of the siege and the existence of an unexpected, non-military catastrophic event that forced the immediate, unexplained retreat of the Assyrian army. The skeptics claim the Assyrian army of the 8th and 7th centuries BC was the most efficient and terrifying war machine the world had ever seen. Their campaigns were meticulously documented, often featuring gruesome depictions of conquered peoples. The Bible records Sennacherib's campaign against Judah in 701 BC with alarming accuracy, describing the conquest of fortified cities like Lachish, 2 Kings 18:13. The skeptical claim arises when the account reaches Jerusalem. The Bible states that Sennacherib besieged the city but did not conquer it. Instead, after Hezekiah's prayer, the angel of the Lord struck down 185,000 men in the Assyrian camp, forcing Sennacherib to retreat back to Nineveh to Kings 19:35-36. Skeptics reject this, the miracle. They dismiss the mass death as a miraculous exaggeration, often proposing a more natural explanation, such as an outbreak of plague, though the biblical text describes a single-night sudden strike. Sennacherib's boast. They rely on Sennacherib's own account, found on his monumental prism, which boasts of shutting up Hezekiah like a bird in a cage in Jerusalem. Crucially, the prism does not record the capture of Jerusalem, nor does it mention the loss of an army. Skeptics argue the biblical account was invented to cover up a surrender or a political compromise, where Hezekiah simply paid tribute, which Sennacherib does record. The non-capture of Jerusalem is presented as a political success, not a divine intervention. We must scrutinize the very documents the skeptics use against the Bible, along with the physical preparations Hezekiah made, to show that the non-capture of Jerusalem was indeed due to a sudden external catastrophe. The core evidence revealed. The most direct physical evidence of Hezekiah's desperation and preparation for the siege is a triumph of ancient engineering: Hezekiah's Tunnel, also known as the Siloam Tunnel. The city of Jerusalem was strategically protected on 3 sides by deep valleys, but its primary water source, the Gihon Spring, was located outside the city walls, in the Kidron Valley. When Sennacherib approached, Hezekiah knew his city would quickly fall without water. In a feat recorded not only in 2 Kings 20:20 and 2 Chronicles 32-3-4, but also found physically inscribed on the tunnel wall, Hezekiah ordered the construction of a massive 1,750-foot-long tunnel carved directly through solid bedrock. The goal was to divert the life-giving water of the Gihon Spring from its exposed location underground and into a reservoir, the Pool of Siloam, inside the city walls. The Siloam inscription, found inside the tunnel, This inscription is an astonishing contemporaneous record of the project, describing how two teams of workers, digging from opposite ends, met in the middle. The tunnel itself is a twisting, uneven masterpiece that shows the tremendous haste and urgency of the work. A haste that only an imminent threat, like the approach of Sennacherib's army, could have motivated. The tunnel proved indispensable, ensuring Jerusalem's water supply remained secure and hidden, denying the besieging army access to this critical resource. Hezekiah's foresight and construction confirm the historical reality of an imminent, massive invasion that required drastic, life-or-death defensive measures. It proves that the threat was not merely political, it was existential, contextual proof and alignment. The final piece of the puzzle lies in comparing the two primary historical accounts, the biblical narrative and the Assyrian Sennacherib Prism, also known as the Taylor Prism. A. The prism's ambiguity. Sennacherib's prism, a hexagonal clay artifact detailing his campaigns, is a document of unparalleled ego. It boasts of conquering 46 cities, deporting 200,150 people, and trapping Hezekiah in Jerusalem like a bird in a cage. It then records that Hezekiah paid a vast tribute of gold, silver, and precious goods. Here is the critical point. Sennacherib's prism never claims he captured Jerusalem. This is a massive break in the pattern. In every other recorded siege, if Sennacherib conquered the city, he proudly declared it. The fact that the most ruthless conqueror of the age boasts only of a successful blockade and tribute payment strongly suggests he was forced to abandon the ultimate objective of conquering the capital. The Assyrian account stops abruptly, leaving the fate of Jerusalem unexplained. B. Alignment of the two accounts. The siege was real. Both the Bible 2 Kings 18 and the Prism confirm the siege was real, devastating, and resulted in Hezekiah paying tribute. The non-capture, both accounts agree, Jerusalem was not captured. The sudden retreat. The Bible explains why Sennacherib didn't capture Jerusalem and why he suddenly retreated. The miraculous destruction of his army to Kings 19:35-36. The Prism, by its sudden, inexplicable omission of the final victory, provides the contextual gap where the biblical miracle fits perfectly. The most logical explanation for the most powerful army in the world to suddenly break off its siege of its primary target, accept tribute, and return home without capturing the city is a devastating, instantaneous catastrophe that made continuing the war impossible. The sudden, unprecedented termination of the siege, found in Sennacherib's own incomplete victory record, is a stunning, non-biblical confirmation of the consequences of the event described in the Bible. The physical tunnel proves Hezekiah was ready for a long siege, but God intervened and ended it abruptly. Conclusion. Significance and defense. The evidence from the 701 BC siege is a perfect historical triplelock. The Siloam Tunnel proves the historical severity of the threat. The Sennacherib Prism proves the siege happened and that Jerusalem was mysteriously not captured. The Bible fills the inexplicable gap in the Assyrian record, providing the reason for the sudden and total withdrawal. When an enemy's victory account falls silent at the moment of supposed triumph, it confirms a historical defeat too catastrophic to record. The convergence of military history, archaeology, and enemy propaganda confirms the biblical claim. Hezekiah's faith was rewarded, and God miraculously delivered Jerusalem. If you found the evidence in this deep dive compelling, know this. The mission of Faith and Facts MCN is to systematically dismantle skepticism by showing that the Bible is the most archaeologically confirmed book in human history. To see the full scope of the evidence, make sure you watch our full-length documentary compilation, Ancient Truths, The Unshakable Foundations of Scripture, where we tie all these proofs together. If you want to support this work, please hit that like button, subscribe for weekly evidence updates, and share this video with one skeptic you know. This presentation utilized AI-generated imagery and synthesized voiceover narration to maximize the visual quality and delivery of this historical and archaeological analysis. Thank you for watching, and may your faith be strengthened by the facts.